Welcome to Wine Social. Thanks for coming here.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. You know I love it here.
Well, how can I be of service?
Well, I really would love for you to tell everybody who's watching why you formed Wine Social, a little bit about where you came from.
Of course.
And we'll start there.
Awesome. Well, my name is Marc, and I own Wine Social in Richland, in the Parkway. I'm here because I think it's the most explosive, thriving micro pocket of economic development in the Tri-Cities.
I love a micro pocket. That's great.
I think I just made that up. On the
love
spot,
that.
was searching for words.
I love it.
But I've been in the wine business for over 20 years. Since my time, I'm from New York, and my family and I moved here almost 8 years ago to raise our family, and we haven't looked back since. But wine has been a part of my life, and I've been in the wine industry for a very long time in sales, marketing, distribution, and now my very first direct-to-consumer facing operation.
So tell me a little bit more about Wine Social itself.
Well, we're here in the middle of what is arguably the finest wine growing region in the world. Our ability to offer, because it's a community here, what we here do in Washington really offer some of the biggest extraction and bold, powerful, rich wines that are, domestically always been kind of found in California. But what we can do that we're outperforming, I believe, that beautiful wine growing region is that Washington has the ability to put forth elegance, sophistication, and almost like a European style sophistication, femininity, silkiness to wines that really speak to a place, and Europe does that. But they can't get the bold fruit we do. So it's really the best of both worlds. But in my career, in my life, I had the good fortune of traveling to all the wine growing regions. In New York, my role was to build and maintain brands and distribution on a pretty volumetric level. So sourcing the best partners in Italy or in France or in Spain, visiting them, developing brands, bringing them to market and having a great time doing it. I never lost sight of, at the end of the day, all my efforts, everything I did was about putting a glass of wine in someone's hand at the end of the day. So all those efforts, my time in New York being a brand builder, being in the business of wine was very separate from here, which is the culture and community of wine. But what inspired me then inspires me now, which is at the end of the day, it's about having a beautiful glass of wine in someone's hand to share with someone that they love or to celebrate, or what brings us together. Wine is, art. Wine is music that we sip. It's a time machine that takes us places. And for me, it's always been about that experience for people. And I love being a part of that here. I get to do that here. And on the international, historic experiences I've had, I didn't realize was really just paving the way for me to be a architect of discovery for our community, whose winemakers are inspired by these varietals and the grapes and where they come from. So in addition to the support here, the local, I bring those wines here for people to share and get inspired by and discover, and it's awesome.
So it seems to me like you've brought this international world of wine to our local area. So tell me a little bit more about that.
I've realized in my career that wine is global. It's historic. We're very young in our wine journey here in Washington, but the grapes that are here were planted by immigrants that came from other lands, other countries, and those varietals, whether it's Sangiovese or Barbera or Tempranillo, obviously the Rhone varietals from France, the Syrah and Bordeaux with Cabernet Merlot, what we do from Germany with Riesling. We are a really beautiful melting pot of international varietals, and we do a beautiful job with them all, but they come from somewhere.
Right.
And it's, I think, a privilege to bring some of my history with these people, these relationships, these wineries, and these cultures, and share them here as a compliment to Washington wines.
Excellent, a compliment.
A compliment for sure.
You and your staff have this unique ability to meet people where they are.
Sure, we have
on their wine drinking journey, and maybe even if they weren't introduced to wine at the age of 4, like I probably was. You and your staff have this wonderful ability to introduce people to the world of wine. Tell me a little bit about that. That's unique, and tell me about how you do that here at Wine Social.
Well, we're first of all very enthusiastic. We're very enthusiastic, and we're super grateful when a guest joins us. And we consider they're our guest, and it's our job to not showcase, and I'll share what we have, because in a nutshell, we like to be extension of local tasting rooms, or a opportunity for those without tasting rooms yet that are producing wine locally wherever they are in their career. We have visiting winemakers all the time, almost weekly, that come in, they talk about their wine, their practices. But also, we really like to be a platform for discovery of the same expressions of Washington, but produced globally. And that's very fun and interesting. It's an education, because it can't just be about wine. It's about an experience. And our goal is to offer you an experience where you feel taken care of, where you feel seen, heard, understood. Not just wine. We have a beautiful selection of spirits, handcrafted cocktails, because we know that's important. And each of those have a story, because spirits about people and places. We have, I think, the biggest, richest non-alcoholic program for in offerings in the Tri-Cities, because that's super important. There's something really for everybody, including our classes, our activities. We have a really rich calendar, and just an invitation to constantly come in and see what we're doing that day.
And you know, you talk about the experience, and one of the things that I just adore about you is you always make me feel welcome, and you always have, ever since I first met you. You just have this presence. So what I really love about your welcoming nature, which we just talked about, is that you meet people where they are, and there's no snobbiness, I guess I should say. You know, sometimes the wine industry or even the bar industry has a reputation for being a little snooty. So, and you don't do that here, even though it's very elegant.
Thank you very much. I think there's some people want to overcomplicate, and we can do it with coffee, right? We do it wherever we look.
Yes, yes.
There's an overcomplication, and it doesn't have to be. This is fermented grape juice in the day, and it's intended for people to celebrate. And it's about people and places, and your people, and you're coming from places, and it's about tying in personally as a consumer to the history and the stories that surround us, whether it's through a spirit or a non-alcoholic opportunity or a wine that traveled around the world or down the block. It has a story, and I want to help you connect with that and see how your story can relate to that. And this is not mine. This is a sentiment from Will Guerra in a book called Unreasonable Hospitality, which is a great one for your team. That service is black and white, but hospitality is color.
Oh, wow, that's wonderful. I love that.
That service is bringing people what they ask for in a timely, efficient, and correct way.
Right.
But hospitality is how you make them feel when you do that.
That is so great.
And it inspires me, and it drives me, and it's the reason. I'm so grateful when you come down the hallway. I love when I see you.
I love it. I love it when I see
you too. It means a lot.
Ah,
my gosh.
I know.
See us.
I know. In addition to people coming in and having a cocktail or a non-alcoholic beverage or a glass of wine, tell me what it is else that you offer.
Well, we have a really charming food menu. And we know we're not going to be your solution for your 12-course dinner, but we certainly have offerings. We handcraft our pizzas, and we have beautiful homemade spreads, and we import meats and cheeses from around the world, and that's certainly available. But we have a really rich, full calendar. I mean, every night we are experiencing. We have live music a couple nights a week, from jazz to local artists. We have entertainment. We have comedians come in. Some national act comedians have been here, and they're on the schedule, and they're in rotation. We have a chef series where we'll do food, wine demonstrations, education. We do a monthly by the glass class with me where we'll explore the dozen or so wines that we're pouring by the glass and how did they get here and why.
That's what I really
That's
want to
a
take.
really cool one
really
because it's so organic and it's
Yes.
just easy to.
Love that.
And the wines are generally pretty good because I spend a lot of time making sure, tasting them and figuring out what I want to bring in. But it's there's arts and crafts. We have a really big theater program here where a couple times a year we do big productions. Last year we did Jekyll and Hyde, and it was an amazing immersive experience in the dining room. And this year we're looking forward to Cabaret in the fall.
Excellent.
And it's going to be so cool.
Okay,
and there's
that's
so much talent here.
That's
And I love having a stage
amazing.
and a platform for them.